Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You movement. I am B. And the energies for the last couple of days have been very difficult for me. And not just for me, for a lot of others that are coming back with similar reports, because as I've said along this journey, it's become more and more clear to me how much a collective we are. So within my collective, I know, I kind of view it now a little bit like we are a hive. You know, there's this hive mind, and I guess, you know, I'm just one of the bees in along with you. And so what I've been feeling for the last couple of days has been intense head pressure. So much so that, you know, my eyes are hurting, my teeth are hurting. It feels like my bones within my face are actually shifting and moving. So, you know, I kind of joked one day that I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up the next day looking like a Picasso. Along this journey, my face has changed dramatically. And I don't just mean, oh, I lost weight. As I've said, there's been times when I've looked in the mirror and I don't even recognize, because my features are shifting and changing. And, you know, that's all kinds of weird. There's all kinds of things that are very weird on this journey. And of those things, it's very difficult for my mind along this process. So while I've been having this physical intense pressure that feels a little bit like I'm stuck in a birth canal, there's overwhelming confusion that I am observing. Again, staying in the observer as much as possible. And I'm also observing the mind freaking the fuck out. And it's always been my go-to to worry. If worrying was an Olympic sport, I would have aced that, no doubt. And what I can worry about is literally everything and anything and nothing, like things that are so far-fetched they don't have hope in like materializing. But oh, we've got some visitors. That comes back to trauma mind, you know. I'm hoping the dogs will quiet down now. But when you grow up in chaos or live in chaos because of these narcissistic individuals that thrive in chaos, that's how they manage to maintain a certain degree of control. Is if the environment is chaos and the people within the environment are in a state of cognitive dissonance and in a state of fight or flight continually, where they're either being receiving you know, cortisol shots of, oh my god, something's wrong, gotta freak out, and then the occasional hits of dopamine, oh, it's okay, we can relax. And this cycle of these two energies keeps coming. It's kind of like getting battered in the head over and over and being in a state of concussed. And in that state, worry becomes a program, because you know, the psychologists call it catastrophizing. But more and more, I'm looking at a lot of my traditional understanding of psychological concepts through the lens of spirituality. And it means that everything's shifting for me a little bit. And through that lens and through the lens of the observer, watching myself in these current energies right now, desperately trying, the mind is desperately trying to grasp on to knowing what's going to happen, what's happening next, am I okay, am I safe, what's going on, because there's very little control in a spiritual awakening. Very little control at all. And we have to surrender. We have to surrender to the Kundalini. If you're experiencing a Kundalini as you're awakening, which many people are, and I don't even think they know they are. So that's something to be aware of. And many people are having an awakening and they don't even know that they are. So there's like no knowing that that's what's occurring. They're having all these like crappy life situations happening or health crises. And I did some writing the other day on or was that even this morning? See, time's losing meaning. On my pre-awakening phase. And then my Kundalini, my soul recognition, my heart expansion, my purge phase, my dark night of the soul phase, the void phase, the reintegration phase, which feels like Groundhog Day phase because you just keep going around in circles. So the mind through this whole process is desperate to know what's going on. Mine is. And in the not knowing, activates the worry program. And so I've been doing a lot of prayer today because it's worrisome for me when I'm bedridden and in excruciating pain, and using prayer and meditation as my pain modalities. I don't numb my pain anymore with anything. If it gets excruciating, I will take a Tylenol, but for the most part, I want to know what the pain is trying to tell me. I want to know what the angst wants to communicate. I want to know what the worry is doing. And the reality is, in looking at the worry is not really doing much of anything useful. In fact, it's doing much to the contrary. It's exacerbating the stress within my body. So I'm trying to create a gap, a distance between me and the worry, because the worry can go from 0 to 60. What is the expression? From 0 to 100 in 60 seconds or something like that. The worry can just exacerbate very, very easily, and I can see why so many people, whilst in these energies, can get hypersensitive to influence that will feed the worry and feed the fear. And send them into all kinds of mental states that aren't good. Our mental landscape is really challenged in this awakening process, and so you might experience physical sensations or emotional sensations, and the mind, who likes control, observes that and freaks out, and thinks all kinds of thoughts, is desperate to hold on and find some sort of explanation within the realm of its understanding. And that can lead to extreme anxiety. Why am I having this chest pain? Oh my God, there's got to be something wrong with me. I better go to the hospital and get this checked out. Been there, done that. Why am I experiencing this anxiety? Oh my God, this anxiety is going to kill me. Oh my God, this anxiety is turning into a panic attack. And so it's like a snowball effect. The mind snowballs and can snowball, turn into an avalanche really quickly, resulting in paranoia. And that's one that I've, struggled with, because when the energies are dark and you're feeling compressed, a lot of people talk about spiritual warfare and, oh my God, the darkness is coming and this and that. And listen, I understand that. I understand that, but we need to, we can either feed it, or we can, ride it out, kind of thing, and create a space. It's all about creating a little bit more space, because I've talked to a lot of people over the last few years that would fall into the camp of thinking they're targeted in one way or another, and I can understand why the mind goes there. Absolutely. Because the mind is losing control of things, and when you put yourself in a safe place and try to calm the nervous system. I talked about this a little bit the other day. We all carry with us a persecution imprint from past lives, even as well as this one. So this mental process that happens when you're experiencing the energies that is in the head. Try your very best, and that's what I have to do as well, is to stay grounded in the here and now, in what you can control. You can control your body. I can move my arms. I can control my breathing. I can control my environment. I can move a chair, or I can turn a light on, but I can't control anything outside of myself. And so it's like super important not to feed the fear, the panic, the paranoia by doom scrolling and, or watching politics and it's the end of the world, or not listening to videos or social media that is going to add fuel to the fear, which in one way feels even more isolating, because you're like, I want to be social and connected to people, but when I go on social media, if there are videos that you are watching that is contributing to the fear, you're doing yourself disservice, and so we have to find tools to counteract that, put tools in place so that we can create that space, create that distance, and whether that be, sitting outside in the sun and just being present in the moment that, right here, right now. Yes, I'm experiencing discomfort in my body and pain. Yes, I'm experiencing emotions that are not pleasant, by no means. But I am physically safe. I am safe in my body. I can just breathe. I can listen to the birds, which means I'm safe in this world. And cultivating safety for the nervous system might feel like baptizing a cat. It's not something that your nervous system easily goes into a state of relaxation when you've been for so many decades in a state of fight or flight, in a state of stress. The body doesn't flip from one programming into another state of being, another state of consciousness overnight. It's a process, it's a practice, it's something that needs to be cultivated. So while we are being tested with very intense energies of, this portal that we're in, that's leading us up to the solar eclipse in 2 days, that I'm really hoping things will begin to lighten up a good bit after that. One can hope, but I know that this is going to be a bumpy year. All planets are moving into new energies, and you could say, well, there's always something going on in the sky. And that's true. That is 100% true. There is always something going on in the sky. And what's going on in the sky is things are shifting and changing to allow in more energy than we've had ever on this planet before. And it's intense, and it's affecting everybody, even though everybody might not know that's why they're affected. That's why we practice cultivating being in the observer, because we're not only observing ourselves, we're observing others, because as others that aren't on a spiritual path, they're just out in the world, they're going to be getting triggered by this energy too. But when they don't have established practices in place, and the old mechanisms of numbing, distracting, distorting are falling apart for them, like the alcohol's not working for them anymore, or maybe it's making them sick, or certain pharmaceuticals are now having side effects that they didn't have before, or certain foods are becoming intolerable. I've heard of many people who have, gone from eating a certain way, and all of a sudden they can't eat meat. Or equally, I've heard of many vegans that have had a vegan diet for 20 years and now all of a sudden have to eat meat. I've also heard of people that, such as myself, had to give up sugar, had to give up dairy, had to give up other inflammatory foods. So pay attention to your body, because, what works for me may not work for you. Everybody has a different function that their body requires. And I can tell you, on the vegan carnivore argument is that when it comes to your health, and when it comes to you being pushed right up against the wall because you've, developed Lyme disease and now can't eat meat, and you're a staunch carnivore, it doesn't matter what your mental processes think about certain things, because when you're pressed up against the wall, equally said, I have known vegans that were in chronic pain and suffering from, a type of neuralgia, and the research that they brought them to eating almost a pure carnivore diet because it was the only thing that alleviated their pain. So let's just be very, very careful about judgment right now, because everybody is getting squeezed in different ways, and survival looks a lot different than the place of, moral choices. And I understand 100% the moral choices that one might think that they want to do or not want to do, but when it comes to these energies squeezing people, people will have to do whatever they have to do to survive. And if that means changing their diet or changing their behaviors or changing their pharmaceuticals or changing their marriages or changing their where they're living or changing their jobs, it doesn't matter what you think. Thinking is not going to get us through this process. Thinking is actually very debilitating on a spiritual awakening. And the more you think, and the more you worry, and the more you think you know, is the less you actually know. And that is very difficult because, we have always considered ourselves in our humanity to be a knowing people. And what is coming to light is that there's a lot we don't know. There is a lot we don't know. So try not to fill in the puzzle with only just 3 puzzle pieces on the board. Wait for more actual information to present. And whether that information comes through your own meditation and your own knowing, so you know certain new truths that you didn't know before. And truth is not pretty. Truth is not pleasant. I've had so many truth bombs along this process that were like a nuclear warhead landing on top of my head and just breaking my world to smithereens, and causing a lot of PTSD because of it. Because when you are contained in a false truth, and you that is your protection of of I'm safe, because I've created this little false reality for myself that I live in, this construct that is my marriage, or this construct that is my job that is going to always be there and provide for me, or this construct that is my health, that I'm healthy and I'm fine and I'm young, and then all of a sudden you're not. Whatever that construct is that your mind has created as a false sense of safety, ultimately will crumble and fall. And when that happens, it's devastating. It's devastating for you, and it's devastating for the mind. The mind struggles to figure out, well, if that's not what reality is, then what is reality? And that's where, when you're very open and susceptible to influence, and it can come from anywhere. It can come from a movie, it can come from music, it can come from other people talking, so be very, very vigilant when your mind is opening, when you're going through these crown chakra and third eye openings, that you don't just grab on to the next closest thing that feels like safety, because that might not be safe. So for example, if you're exiting from one false sense of security, which is a narcissistic marriage, don't jump into another one. Give yourself time, give yourself space. Dr. Romani, who I've mentioned on many videos, recommends, and I recommend right along with her, you need space to integrate a new reality of who you are. Not who you are in relationship, but who you are. Because that's also one of the constructs that completely crumbles, is you think that you're a human being with this personality and this identity that is got all these labels all around it as wallpaper, which is, that your first name, your last name, your country that you're from, the community that you're in, your race, your culture, your job title, your how much money you have, all of these things. We make all this wallpaper in this false reality for ourselves. And then this wrecking ball comes and tears through, which we didn't plan. It'll tear through the job, the marriage, the identity, and just shatter and leave all of that on the floor. And then we look around and we're in this state of more expansiveness. And we're like, okay, well, who am I now? What am I now? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And in my opinion, the best thing you can do is slow down. Is the message that I keep getting over and over again is slow down. Our mind and our ego wants to rebuild and put all that paper back up on the walls to like put ourselves in that fake little house again. And we try over and over again. We try on this awakening to rebuild. So like ego death isn't really ego death. It's more like ego domestication or ego taming or ego letting go of the false notion that you can control anything, and surrendering, learning how to let go and surrender to everything. So we have to surrender to the Kundalini within us that's altering us for us. So my face is being rearranged, it feels like, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna assume that's to make me cuter. So far it's working pretty good, so far everything that the Kundalini has done for my body has been pretty a-okay, making me healthier and sexier and more fluid. So I'm going to assume whatever's happening to my head is going to be for maybe it's fixing my deviated septum. Maybe it's healing my fistula now. That would be great. So I have to surrender to the Kundalini and just be like, okay, do your thing. I trust that whatever you're doing is for my highest and greatest good. I have to surrender to the divine or to God and accept that there is some sort of divine plan at place that's above my pay grade. I wasn't invited to the meeting, and so I don't know what the divine plan is. And that annoys my mind. My mind wants to know. It's that not knowing, and I have to, it's not your place to know. It's not my place to know. Everything is being orchestrated for me. I am where I am because the divine interceded on my behalf, and that's why I'm still in my house. Many others won't be in their house. Many others get moved out of their house. Some people completely lose their houses. So I am blessed that, I am here, and where I'll be next year or in 3 years, I don't know. I have a 3-year window that I with my contract to be in this place, and then that's it. So, and I don't know what's happening with my career. It's just starting. I don't know where I'm being led. I'm just trusting. I have to trust in divine time. So surrendering again to it's not my time. And I've learned the hard way that there's 0 point in me like banging my head against the wall and panicking and going, oh my God, I have to get my website up and running, and oh my God, I need to get this organized, because I have all these ideas, but like if it's not in alignment with divine time, it's not going to work. Over the last 3 years, I've met at least 3 people that I was like, oh, you're the business partner I've been waiting for. This is so fantastic. I can't wait. And I tell them all my ideas, and we're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then all of a sudden it just falls apart and doesn't work. See, that goes back to kind of my point of when you like step out of one false reality, don't try to grab on hold of the next thing right away, because that next thing might not be the thing. That next thing might just be a stepping stone that's going to bring you one step closer to this thing. And each time you meet somebody, you're like, oh, okay, you're one step closer to what I'm looking for, but not quite. So each are stepping stones that's leading you somewhere that you don't know. You have no idea where you're being led. And now I'm meeting people that are like, yeah, and we're having these conversations, and I'm like, okay, we're just going to go slow. we're just going to go slow and see how this develops. We're in early day talks, and, go your pace. I'll go my pace. We're still in an awakening, because that was one of the things that became crystal clear to me, is there was no point in me trying to build the You movement with somebody who hadn't gone through awakening. So I was waiting for somebody who'd gone through an awakening to understand what it's like to go through an awakening, so that they could have the vantage point from a slightly different perspective as mine, and bring to the table a new approach. So Spirit has been showing me that, something is coming for you, but it's not in your control of your time. It's not in control of anything. It will happen when it happens. And so you have to slow down. And my mind doesn't like that, because that just is like, oh, well, this is more time for me to worry. And I'm like, no, this is more time to practice being in beingness, being in the observer, allowing whatever is happening to me to just happen. The transformation that is still occurring is something that I just need to observe. So I repeat, we surrender to the Kundalini, to our bodies, if you want to put it that way, and the energy that is within our bodies, the healing process. Healing requires an environment that allows for healing. When you cut your wrist or your hand or wherever, you have to clean it, and then you have to create an environment where healing can occur. You'd have to put a little nice bit of antibiotic cream, if that's what you use, or a little bit of coconut oil if you make your own, which is what I do, a little bit of coconut oil with some tea tree in there, or some oil of oregano, and then you cover it up, and you protect it. So we are currently in an environment, in the isolation tank that many of us still find ourselves in. This is our healing pod. So we're in a pod and we're healing, and we can see that the pod is starting to crack a little bit, and we're seeing things on the outside that are oh, okay, there's a whole big world out there beyond this. But I'm not out there right now. I'm only just starting to see out there, and still adjusting as I go through this reintegration. And there's still processes that is happening. So it's right now, I'm going through Dark Night of the Soul, the Void, and reintegration all at the same time. And that's a lot. That's a lot. It definitely feels like there's this acceleration right now, where the countdown is on, when you're about to get the timer bell that goes ding, and I have to assume that when that goes ding, I'm going to walk out slowly, and take time to look around, and take it one day at a time. A baby isn't born and then goes running. A baby gets born, and there is a lot of self-care and soothing as it's integrating into a whole new world. So our souls are being reborn into a whole new world that we are in part co-creating. So let's co-create slowly, intentionally, and not from a place of worry or fear. So I'm hoping and I'm praying in this last round of whatever I'm going through, that maybe this is the dissolution of some of that worry, that the worry program is losing its power and its control. Because what you'll find on an awakening is, depending on where you're at, is a certain energy will get squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed until it's empty. It's like a ketchup sachet. We're going to like squeeze out a little anxiety, and then we're going to trigger you more anxiety, and then we're going to trigger you some more anxiety, and trigger you so much that you're like, oh my God, I couldn't possibly have any more anxiety than I'm having right now. And then whatever situation that you were worried about resolves itself, and you're like, how did I get through that? Like, oh my God. Because like now it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'm okay. I survived that. I survived whatever that anxious situation was that I thought was going to happen, or I survived whatever my doomsdaying mind was predicting, and I survived. And so you come out the other end of that round of ego death, and a whole bunch of the previous programs that held you ensnared within that false matrix, that false sense of self. Because yes, in that false sense of self there was safety, but there was also a whole bunch of fuckery and bullshittery that was like the worry program that kept you from stepping outside, and the fear of the unknown program that kept you from stepping outside, and the fear of being disliked that kept you from like cracking those jokes. The fear of, being yelled at or raged at that prevented you from speaking your truth. So in that false safety wasn't really that safe. It really wasn't. That's why it was a false sense. That identity was a false construct of safety and surety. But what it really was a whole bunch of like methods used to keep repasting the walls and keep us busy, so we're not noticing the fact that we're actually not safe, and we ourselves are the one that's like part of the system that's like through all our fears of keeping ourselves entrapped. And so breaking free from cycles, breaking free from thought patterns, breaking free from addictions, breaking free from abusive relationships, breaking free is a constant process. And so it's like we go from one false sense of reality into a bigger one, and then we're like, okay, I'm safe in this one, and then we realize, oh, wait a second, in this one, this is where I do this bad behavior, and that's keeps me locked in this tighter space. And then so we break that habit, maybe it's an addiction, and we go, okay, I'm free of that, now I'm free. And then we're like, wait a second, now I'm in a toxic relationship that I'm noticing, and I need to break out of that one. Now I'm free. And then we look around and we're like, okay, now I'm safe. Oh, wait a second. Now I'm scared to step forth and do the job I was always meant to do and sit in front of a camera and talk, because I'm scared what people are going to think of me, or people are going to like me. I'm going to break through that one. Now I'm free. Oh, now I'm worrying. Now I'm worrying. Oh my God, I've got so much worry happening right now. Like, our nefarious people at play doing things, trying to like, no, I'm going to break through the worry. And we just keep having to break through and break through and break through. So in this process, it's not like we get born once. We get born again and again and again and again and again into a much wider consciousness, a much broader understanding. And in so doing, it is the total dissolution of all the coping strategies and the false thinking that previously was our hook. It reminds me of the devil card on the tarot deck, and in that card you see a man and a woman at the bottom wearing chains, and the devil's big and holding them chained to something. But if you look closely at the card, the chains are really loose, and they just really need to take them off.
They're not actually chained at all. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that we are chained within something. And that's why it's really important to pull yourself away from a lot of the things that we have chains around us that we don't really have chains around us. We do have more freedom than perhaps we realize. And listen, I also understand there's a lot happening in the world right now that makes it seem like, okay, we don't have freedom. And that is the question of, do you want to sit with the chain around your neck and be fearful, or do you want to take the chain off of your neck and silence it and be free in the space that you are, which is this little space here? And understand that in this process of evolution, and this is what gives me hope for those that get stuck with the politics chain wrapped around your neck. And I understand. I wore that chain for a very long period of time. But again, it comes down to surrendering that there is a divine plan at place, and there is divine time. So you don't have all the puzzle pieces, but I want to offer this as a little bit of comfort, which means if I am awakening and you're awakening, and all the other people that leave comments are awakening, and then all the other people that make YouTube videos are awakening, then I can guarantee to you there are people who are awakening in the political structures, in the school systems, in Hollywood, in everywhere. There are people who are awakening. They might not fully be in their power yet. They may not fully have broken through some of their fears and their worries of, oh my God, if I speak, if I do something, then I'm going to get trouble. So they're still in their process. As I said, this is a divine time, and we are a collective. So within our wave, one bit of the wave doesn't hit the ocean before the other bit of the wave. We are in a wave, and there are more waves coming behind us. As people awaken and as people break through all of these constructs that are holding them enclosed, they themselves are going to be like, hey, wait a second, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to blow the whistle. I'm going to expose this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to alter this. I'm going to fight for this. That are in the system that can make a change. Other than showing up and voting right now within a dysfunctional voting system, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I went and I voted, and I will vote again in the next federal election that comes up in Canada. But I can't do, it's out of my control. What is in my control is my creating a safe environment for myself and trying to control my mind, my own mind. That's my mission. My mission, my individual mission, is get through your awakening. Mission 1, save yourself. Heal yourself. That is the focus that anybody who is on an awakening needs to be, and have trust and have faith that you are not alone. Even if you are on your own, there are thousands of people worldwide that are going through an awakening as well, embedded everywhere, in every industry, in every system. And so their job might be to blow the whistle on something. That's not your job. Your job, our job, is to heal and blow the whistle on ourselves, on what bullshit is happening within ourselves, so that we can open ourselves into this Christ consciousness of divine love and be a representative in the world that is shining a light just by being, not by doing, but just by being you in the grocery store when people are panicking and buying up all the toilet paper because they think it's the end of the world. And you be the calm, rational one that buys all that you need and says, you know, shows people just by your actions, everything is fine, everything is okay. So when you are calm, you are an epicenter for the energy imprint of calm, of peace, of love, of compassion, of understanding, even though you may not have understanding full, but like understanding for why other people might be struggling or in stress because they're all triggered and they don't even know that they're going through an awakening, and they don't even know that there's like all these planetary things that are happening this year, and they don't even know about like sun flares and X things, you know, X flares or whatever they're called. You know, they don't even know. So all they're doing is panicking and being like, oh my God, I gotta like freak the fuck out and buy all this stuff because it's the end of the world and I'm gonna doomsday and 3 days of darkness and panic and like radiating out like fear, terror, anxiety. And you'll just be like, I'm gonna create a nice healthy distance. Or maybe you're, you know, at a bar, which I hope you aren't at this stage, but I had a poor woman posting on a group. She's like, I don't know what to do. I used to love my job being a bartender. And I'm like, oh, geez, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because the alcohol is a low frequency. The earth is rising its frequency. And so that's not going to resonate with people anymore. And more people, it's a gateway. It opens you. Alcohol opens you to dark energies. So, you know, the more somebody consumes, the more they open themselves for infiltration of like dark, bad vibes. You don't want to be around that. You don't, because they'll lash out, they'll attack, they'll say inappropriate things, they'll do inappropriate things. Alcohol is not something that you can bring with you on a spiritual awakening, on an ascension path. And listen, the whole planet is ascending. It's not just me, and it's not just a collective of people. Yes, we may be further along our awakening because, as I said, it comes in waves. If everybody on the entire planet and every animal and every tree and everything awoken at the exact same time, there would be anarchy. There would be absolute anarchy. So divine plan is, okay, let's do this in waves. And so the first wave kind of came about in 2012. That's not our wave. Our wave is like the 2019 wave. So 7 years was the first wave that was kind of laying some groundwork and some foundations for us. And, you know, they are teachers that we can find out there that have been through it. And then the second wave is our wave that's like, whoa, this is an even bigger wave with even more power. And then there's going to be waves behind us. And so the waves that come behind us, you know, still might not be in any conscious awareness that there's even an awakening happening. And those people might still be desperately trying to hold on to the old coping mechanisms that used to work, like alcohol, you know? Oh my God, I used to be able to drink 24 beers and I was fine. And now when I'm drinking these beers, I'm having rage outbursts and I'm having anger and I'm throwing things at my wife, or, you know, like it's just not working for me, or I'm vomiting. You know, that's what happened to me is alcohol quit me, not me quitting alcohol, because it got to a point where it was just not fun. By 3 sips into a drink, I was already experiencing hangover. And anytime I drank, I would get violently ill. It was like the body was saying, absolutely not. This is not something I'm going to tolerate anymore. But I didn't like try to like repress it and not listen to it. I was like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. The joy of this is gone. And if the joy of something is gone, then people will eventually walk away from it. You know, if it no longer serves as a coping mechanism and it causes more problems so that you then have to have other coping mechanisms because of those problems, then eventually it's going to crumble. So while, you know, that poor woman on her awakening is at the point where she can't be a bartender. She can't. That's what soul is saying to her. And she's like, but I don't know what else to do. It's what I've always done. And that false illusion of safety is crumbling for her. And she's going to be pushed into her own soul's mission I don't know, maybe she'll be like working with people in recovery from alcohol because she's very familiar with being around those kind of people. Who knows? I don't know what her soul's mission is. Her soul knows. And again, that's another form of surrender. We surrender to our own soul, ultimately. So we're surrendering to the Kundalini. We're surrendering to our soul, who, you know, we have to assume knows what's going on, even though we don't. Our human avatar doesn't, but our soul's like, right, I want you to go down to planet Earth, and I want you to forget who you are. I want you to be a light worker, a starseed, and go in the worst, darkest, shittiest situations that you could possibly fathom to accumulate as much info as you can take on board. I want you to make 1,000,001 mistakes. Because you'll be doing the wrong things over and over again, but I need you to do those. So you're going to have to learn how to accept the fact that you've made a lot of mistakes because you've worked the wrong jobs, married the wrong people, you know, ran after like addiction the wrong way and did a whole bunch of stupid shit. And then I want you to wake up, go through an intense awakening process that's going to feel like death over and over and over again as we beat out of you all of the old programming and all of the old beliefs about what you thought you were and thought you were there to do, and reform you. And then I want you to step into soul's mission. And you're like, well, what is soul's mission? And we're not telling you that, okay? We're not giving you an itinerary. We're not giving you a schedule. We're not going to give you an email that outlines everything for you. There's no syllabus involved. There's just lessons and lessons and lessons. And we're going to sit up here and we're going to laugh at the folly of it all, because you're going to think that you're completely not safe, and you're going to be in a state of panic over some things that are never going to happen and have no chance of happening, because what is meant to happen is going to happen, and if it's not meant to happen, it's not going to happen, regardless of what you like you think you have absolute control over as a manifester. You know, nobody manifests an awakening. Nobody manifests a dark night of the soul. You didn't draw that into you. You didn't manifest, I don't care what people say, you didn't manifest a narcissistic partner. Those things happened to you because they were part of your soul's contract that you pre-agreed to come down so that you could learn to ascend it, and they're like a sparring partner to help you step into your strength. So in all the horrible things, there's all these gifts. So then we're collapsing duality, and that's part of your job, by the way, is collapsing duality. So anywhere that you're in extreme thinking of black or white thinking of this is good and this is bad, that's going to have to crumble and come into a place of total neutrality and total peace. And that's going to mess with your mind something fierce, because I've been my whole life a vegan and this is my thing. And wait a second, I'm not allowed to have good or bad. I have to go into neutral. Oh my God. Okay, but this is what I've always thought, and this is what I've always done. No, we got to come back into neutrality and get into alignment and learn how to trust that our soul is guiding us, so that we will be pushed little bit by little bit towards our soul's mission, which involves all of the information that we've collected along the way and all of the mistakes that we've apparently made. Because all of those are our training and our skill sets that bring us in to be able to do the mission. You know, if I hadn't have been a drinker and I hadn't have been, you know, a little bit of a femme fatale in my 20s, I wouldn't know what those vibes were. So how am I supposed to talk to anybody about that? And if I didn't know what it was like to be raised by a narcissistic parent or be in a marriage with a narcissistic husband, how would I know how to talk to anybody about any of that? So those weren't mistakes that I made. Those were part of like the learnings that I had that's on this. So in retrospect, we can see a lot of the itinerary that was never presented to us, but we have to keep being pushed a little bit further out of more of these constructs, is constantly escaping through more and more boxes, so that we can be in alignment with soul, trusting soul that whatever is meant for me will arrive in divine time, in divine way, and trusting God that what will be needed will be provided for me, even though what is needed may not be what I think I need. I don't need this depression. I don't need a dark night of the soul. I don't need to feel anxious. Those are horrible things. I don't want to feel them, therefore they're not needs. And God or spirit is like, I don't care. That is what you need. You do need to sit in the suffering so that you can develop compassion. You do need to sit in the pain so that you develop the process of how to be a healer. You do need to sit in the anxiety so you can learn how to manage your mind and create distance. So you do need all the crappy things. And we're like, but I don't want the crappy things. Well, it doesn't matter what you want. There is something greater at play here. So you do need to be in isolation. You do need to be in loneliness. You do see it's all of these things because it's all for our highest and greatest good. Everybody says, please God, give me what is in my highest and greatest good. But nobody says, is the depression or the sickness or the divorce in my highest and greatest good? Nobody says that. Nobody says, please, I want to know what it's like to go through a really horrible divorce. Nobody says that. But that might be in your highest and greatest good. If you're married in a toxic relationship and in a dysfunctional situation, it might absolutely be in your highest and greatest good. And maybe that person that goes through that marriage that was in the dysfunction and got dragged through family court gets so inspired and so angry at the system that they then decide that what they want to be is a legal aid. And then their job is created because of this horrific situation. So no matter how horrible the energies are right now, and it's about to rain, maybe that's in my highest and greatest good. Well, it's definitely in the highest and greatest good for my grass that looks very sad. But we have to be in the awareness that even the bad, the wrong, again, dualistic thinking, is not bad or wrong. It's part of the process that we don't know about, and we're not allowed to know about it. So we need to let go and let God. Well, that was a video and a half. I never know where these videos are going to go. I certainly didn't expect me to say half of those things I said. So that was a lesson for myself as well. Channeling is great fun. Thank you for the messages. I needed those messages. I needed some guidance because I was really confused and worried. I'm less confused and worried now. That's good. If anybody would like to book an appointment with me, the way to do that is to send me off an email to justbebeing@gmail.com, and we can set up a discussion where we can address some of your worries and concerns. Otherwise, hop over to the Spiritual Warrior Support Group, and you can post anonymously in there if you are facing some tough thinkings that might be surfacing at the present moment. And I'm going to save myself from getting rained on and go inside. So thank you for all the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the supers, the donations, the support, the love, the everything. Peace in. That's the job.